Donald Trump, a name that has dominated headlines for over 4 decades. For some, he's a bold businessman, a champion of the working class, and an unconventional voice in American politics. For others, he's a manipulator, a liar, and a master of deception. But what if I told you there's a much darker truth buried beneath the gold-plated towers, flashy campaign slogans, and TV stardom? A story of scandals, lies, and betrayal. Stay with us as we uncover the dark truth of Donald Trump. This is not the story you've been told before. Every story has a beginning. For Donald Trump, that beginning started in Queens, New York, on June 14th, 1946. Born as the fourth of 5 children to Fred and Mary Trump, Donald grew up surrounded by wealth and ambition. But this wasn't just any family. Fred Trump, Donald's father, was one of New York's largest real estate developers, amassing massive wealth through government contracts to build housing for the middle class. From a young age, Donald absorbed Fred's relentless drive for success, but alongside it came a lesson steeped in controversy. Winning was everything, and losing wasn't an option. But the Trump family's rise wasn't without its darker moments. In the 1970s, the Department of Justice charged Fred and Donald Trump's company, Trump Management, with discriminatory housing practices. Black applicants were frequently turned away from Trump's buildings, with apartments instead being rented to white tenants. Court documents reveal that Trump employees were instructed to use coded language, like marking applications with the letter C, short for coloured. Donald Trump denied the allegations, but the case ended in a settlement. Importantly, the Trump Organization was required to adopt practices designed to prevent future discrimination. The damage to their reputation, easy to sweep under the rug. Was this an unfortunate relic of the times, or the first glimpse of a pattern in Donald Trump's life? In the 1980s, Donald Trump burst onto the Manhattan real estate scene with unmatched bravado. His towering ego, relentless self-promotion, and flamboyant personality quickly became his trademarks. But behind the carefully curated image of success lurked a troubling reality. Trump's rise to fame rested as much on perception as it did on reality. For every skyscraper that bore his name, there was a risky loan, a failed business, or a trail of unpaid workers. Despite his claims of being one of the world's most successful businessmen, between 1991 and 2009, Donald Trump's companies filed for bankruptcy 6 times. Yes, you heard that correctly, 6 times. In the 1990s, his ventures into the casino industry turned disastrous. The Trump Taj Mahal, once coined the 8th wonder of the world, bled millions of dollars. With enormous debts piling up, Trump filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy to protect his businesses. But here's where things get darker. Many of these bankruptcies left contractors, employees, and small businesses without payment, while Trump himself walked away largely unscathed. Critics argue this wasn't failure. This was strategy. Trump used the legal system to his advantage, shifting losses onto others while protecting his personal wealth. On the surface, the Trump name was still golden, but beneath it, cracks had already begun to show. Trump University, a lesson in deception. Learn from the best, Trump claimed. For years, Trump University drew in thousands of hopefuls eager to uncover the secrets behind his success in real estate. The promise? Riches. The reality? A $25 million fraud lawsuit. Students paid outrageous fees, some exceeding $35,000, believing they'd receive personal mentorship from Donald Trump. Instead, what they got were seminars led by unqualified instructors and sales pitches to spend even more money. In 2013, the New York Attorney General filed a lawsuit accusing Trump University of being a bait-and-switch scam. Investigations revealed that high-pressure sales tactics targeted desperate, often financially unstable individuals. Promises were broken, dreams destroyed. 3 years later, Donald Trump settled the lawsuit for $25 million. Though he never admitted to wrongdoing, students got some of their money back, but they couldn't get back their time or trust. Once again, we're left with the question, was it just bad business? Or a calculated con? By the early 2000s, Donald Trump's real estate empire wasn't the unstoppable machine he claimed. His name might still have been in lights, but behind closed doors, the cracks were growing wider. Then came The Apprentice. The NBC reality TV show turned Trump into a cultural icon. Millions of Americans tuned in weekly to watch him play the role of a ruthless executive in command of a boardroom. "You're fired" became a national catchphrase, and just like that, Trump rebuilt his brand on television. But here's where the dark truth comes in. Behind the scenes, producers and editors worked tirelessly to craft the illusion of Trump as a savvy, decisive leader. The program had little to do with reality. It was showbiz, yet for millions, it cemented Trump as an image of success. Reality blurred with fiction, and that would have lasting consequences. In 2015, Trump did something few ever expected. He announced his candidacy for President of the United States. His campaign was built on divisive rhetoric, extraordinary promises, and a cult of personality. He claimed he alone could make America great again. But behind the slogans, Trump's rise to power came with a wave of controversies. Early in his presidency, Trump introduced what critics called the Muslim ban, an executive order restricting travel from several majority Muslim countries. Supporters cheered it as a necessary step for national security. Opponents called it blatant discrimination. Then came the family separation policy. Thousands of migrant families were torn apart at the US-Mexico border in a crackdown on illegal immigration. Children were held in cold, overcrowded detention centres, many separated from their parents for months. The images shocked the world. Trump's administration doubled down, claiming it was enforcing the law, but for many, it was a dark chapter in American history. Trump's presidency ended as it began, in chaos and controversy. After losing the 2020 election, Trump refused to concede, repeatedly claiming it had been rigged against him. On January 6, 2021, his words inspired thousands of supporters to storm the US Capitol. The riot left 5 people dead, countless injured, and the world watching in disbelief. Even as Congress reconvened to certify Joe Biden's victory, Trump's legacy as a disruptor was forever cemented. Donald Trump isn't just a man. He's a mirror, a reflection of America's greatest strengths and deepest flaws. For some, he exemplifies the grit and ambition of the American dream. For others, he represents greed, corruption, and division. But one thing is clear: love him or hate him, his impact on the world will linger for decades to come. This is the dark truth of Donald Trump. Thank you for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe. The conversation isn't over.